Hi, it's Nicole McGuirk with September's Scrapbook Stamping class brought to you by 2peasinabucket.com. This month's layout features stamping on vellum, fabric, canvas, felt, something other than just your regular cardstock or pattern paper. And for my layout, I chose to feature stamping on vellum. It is something that I like to do a lot. I love the look of it, and I especially love the look of stamping with white StazOn ink on vellum. And you'll want to use a StazOn ink on a lot of these surfaces, especially like the vellum, simply because it won't smear. Here's the sketch for the September class, and you can see I've created a 2x3 photo grid on the bottom half of the layout. And I guess I shouldn't call it a photo grid, it's more of just a grid. I did print it out on one sheet, but you can see I left 4 of those 2x3 spaces open so I could add some stamped accents. And then there's a 3x4 photo at the top. Okay, you can see I just kind of have it laid out here. Nothing is adhered. I just laid some stamps out. I've already pre-cut some 2x3 pieces of vellum and 2x3 pieces of pattern paper. I did end up switching out some of these lighter colors of pattern paper simply because the stamping popped better off of the darker pattern paper. Here is the StazOn ink that I'm going to use, and one thing you're going to want to do when using the white StazOn ink, or any of the metallic ones for that matter, is you're going to want to use your reinker pretty much every time you get them out to use them. For whatever reason, they dry out quite a bit quicker than your regular StazOn ink, and in order to get a good stamped impression, you're going to want to re-ink that pad there. So you can see I'm just re-inking my metallic pads. When I was doing this, I thought I was going to use them more than I ended up using them, when in fact I only used the copper once on my layout and I used white for everything else. And these metallic ones come with a little scraper thing to work the ink into the pad, but I can't find it, so I use my finger because I guess I don't care if I get messy or not, which works fine. I usually just kind of smear it all around and then leave it sit for a little bit until it soaks in. And I'm just going to use a baby wipe to clean it up. Anyway, when you're working with these certain StazOn inks, you will want to use the reinkers. So I'd already done the white, so as soon as I get those all kind of the ink evenly distributed, I will clean up and then I will start stamping the accents. First thing I'm going to do is grab one of these little squares here, and you can see this is the black pattern paper from Echo Park that I'm talking about. It's from their Apothecary Emporium collection, which is a really fun Halloween collection. And I'm going to take this spider web cling stamp from Hero Arts, ink it up with that white StazOn ink, and stamp it kind of off of the top corner there. I didn't want to stamp it right in the center. I like how it looks like it's just kind of hanging there from the corner. And here's what it looks like layered over that pattern paper. You can still see the pattern underneath, although it mutes it really nicely, and the white ink really pops off of that background. I'm going to do the same thing for this next vellum rectangle here, only I'm going to use the Hero Arts Haunted House, or Spooky House I think it's called. And I'm going to just center that kind of up more near the top part of the page, and you'll see why as I finish the layout. Stamp that right there, and you can see how great that looks. I just really love the look of white ink on vellum. The next thing I'm going to stamp is I've trimmed a strip of vellum to about 10¼ inches long by about, it's not quite an inch wide, I don't think, but close to it. And I've laid out several, I think these are all Allie Edwards stamps, and they're from different collections. And what I'm going to do here is just stamp it in a couple of pieces. I'm going to stamp, it says Halloween And then it says, "This is what I want to remember most." And they're from 2 different stamp sets. I love combining different words and phrases from her different stamp sets to make your own unique phrases or titles or subtitles for pages or accents. Just gonna line that up and stamp it really quick. And you can see that the white ink shows up really nicely against the vellum when stamping with text as well as images. Next, I'm going to take the rest of the words and images that I'm going to use here, and I grabbed a little star from one of her stamp sets because I thought that would be cute with the Halloween theme, the word October, and then I'm going to use some numbers from her A Date with Allie stamp set that is the stamp date set for 2011. But it has all kinds of, it has the months and the days of the week and all that kind of, and numbers and everything. So it will work beyond 2011, which is what I really love about it. So just grabbing my numbers here. I'm trying to line them up. At first I thought maybe I could stamp several of them, or a couple of them anyway, with one stamping, and I kept bumping them, and so I figured out that it would be better to just stamp them individually. I did re-stamp my first phrase there because I didn't have it stamped very straight. And here's what I'm talking about. Those numbers are really small. A lot of times I like to try to stamp several of these when I'm doing a border like this all at once, but it just didn't work out very good in this instance just because those numbers are so small. So I'll stamp that little star and the word October, and then I'll use a smaller stamp, or a acrylic block rather, to stamp my date. And I love that this can be customized for any date that you want to use. And these photos were obviously not taken in 2011. They're older photos. So I was able to stamp it with the 2004 simply by using the numbers in the set. And then I'll finish it off with another little star. I think that adds some fun, and it kind of breaks up all the kind of wordiness of that whole border. So there's what the border looks like stamped with white. And then I'm going to go back to finishing stamping my 2x3 squares. This is a cute little skeleton, little dancing skeleton from Hero Arts. It's brand new this year. And again, just like with the spider web, I'm going to stamp him kind of off of the edge of this square. I'm not going to try to get all of him on here, or the rectangle rather. I'm going to stamp him in that lower right corner. Which is cute. It kind of looks like he's coming off of the edge. And I placed one of the stickers from the cardstock sticker sheet from the Apothecary Emporium collection from Echo Park on the pattern paper, so it's behind the vellum, and it's a little postage stamp, which gives a really fun look, adds another layer, adds more interest, and adds a little bit of color as well. I also inked up this Allie Edwards stamp that says Boo, and I'm going to stamp that with some copper metallic StazOn ink. And that just adds, again, a little bit more color. It helps the word pop off the little piece there, especially since I stamped so much in white. Here is my photo collage that I was talking about. You can see it's all printed on one sheet. I just designed that in Photoshop and left those spaces blank, and then I trimmed my paper to fit. So you can see there I have another spider web that I did, and I placed a cardstock sticker on the pattern paper behind, And I ended up using all of this black text pattern paper from the Echo Park Apothecary Emporium collection because I thought that the stamping showed up better with the darker background. Added a label sticker there to this one. I'm just simply lining those up to fit the little grid design that I have going here. And then I'm going to go ahead and start assembling my page. Now that I have all of my pieces stamped, I'm ready to start putting it all together. I like to wait until I have most of my page designed before I actually adhere anything. I'm using the Echo Park Apothecary Emporium collection with some of the American Crafts Nightfall collection. I think it's kind of fun to mix and match. And I liked the fall leaves on the American Crafts Nightfall. I didn't want the page to be so overwhelmingly Halloween, even though it is. I wanted just that little touch of fall in there, plus some of the leaves have some blue and other colors in them, some browns and things, which helped pick up some of the colors from my photos, especially since at this time my kids weren't really wearing scary costumes. I still wanted that Halloween feel to my page, but I liked how the fall leaves just added another fun element. I'm going to tuck my vellum strip here underneath my journaling, and I just printed my journaling on a 12 by 12 piece of craft cardstock. And I do get quite a few questions asking how I do that, and I do have a wide format printer. So that is how I'm able to print my journaling like that. You can also do it with a 8.5 by 11 inch printer if you print it lengthwise, like on using a legal setting or a legal paper setting. To attach my vellum to the pattern paper or that collage there, I'm using the tiny attacher. It adds a fun little decorative element, plus that way you don't see any adhesive showing behind the vellum. I always try to either hide my adhesive or find a creative way to attach the vellum either with a button or a staple or a brad, something like that. So in this instance, I'm just using my tiny attacher. Very quick and easy. Pages coming together. You can see I do have some orange cardstock behind that stamped border. Originally I thought I had left it when I first put it on the page, and then I thought maybe it wouldn't show up, so I tried a little strip of a scrap of paper behind it like you see here, and I ended up not liking that, so that will be gone. That's why it doesn't have that in the finished page. Just going to reattach my little grid design here. Now here is a little banner sticker from the Echo Park Apothecary Emporium sticker sheet. And I thought the reason I stamped that house a little bit higher on that piece was so that I could add that fun little border underneath it. I thought that would be fun. And it adds a fun little decorative element to the photo grid. Plus it helps break up that design just a little bit. And it keeps your embellishments consistent throughout the page. What I did here was I just popped up that top piece of pattern paper and punched out the, I think it's the 1 3/4 inch circle punch. Originally I thought I would use that 1 3/4 inch piece to fill in up at the top. Otherwise I would have just used the larger 2 inch photo, or a circle punch rather, to punch that out, but I needed a little bit of a border there. And I ended up not liking that so much and went with the text paper instead. So I wouldn't have needed to do that. All you have to do is pop that up, and I punched out a 2-inch circle, and I layered some other pattern paper behind it so you wouldn't see the leaves of that American Crafts Nightfall paper, and added a different design from Nightfall instead. And then I'm going to stamp this little moon and stars from Hero Arts on some vellum and punch that out with the 1 3/4 inch circle punch, and also punch a circle from this text paper. It's the same paper I used behind the vellum rectangles on the bottom half of the page. And this is just going to add yet another little decorative element near the top of the page. Because there's so much stamping going on near the bottom, I wanted to kind of bring that up to the top of the page just so it looks more finished and that the design is cohesive throughout. Grabbing my sticker sheet here, looking for a couple little bat stickers. Figure out where I want to put him. And then I'm just going to put a little adhesive behind that sticker to hold that vellum in place then. Grab another little sticker. I did trade out this black one for the orange bat instead because I thought it added a little bit more color. So I'll replace my circle then at the top of the page. And grab some foam adhesive for my bat. And like I said, I did switch that out for the orange one. When I was done with that, I added some little rhinestone gems and things from Doodlebug to my bats, and also to the stamped pieces on the bottom half of the page. Show that here in just a second. And there you can see those gems. They just add a nice little dimensional and decorative touch. Little black gems for the skeleton eyes. A few more there. For more information on this layout, please visit 2peasinabucket.com on September 1st, 2011 in the Design Garden under the free class Scrapbook Stamping. Thanks for watching.